used with your toddlers, because you can take these off like this. They're Velcro pieces. And what you're going to do, let me back up just a little bit. What you're going to do is you are going to match the pictures at first. So we're not necessarily focused on what it's reading because, you know, with a 2-year-old, chances are they're not going to pay attention to the words on the page anyway, just yet. So what you can do with this resource is you can have them find the turkey. Like we can say, where's the turkey? Here it is, turkey. And then you put the turkey on, okay? Now, some kids are going to be able to handle all of these. Some kids are going to be able to handle all of these presented at one time, and that's fine. Some of your little ones are not. So what you can do is you can take all of them off, hold them on your side, and give them options. So you'll sit on the floor, and then you'll place the pictures in front of them to where they can really only focus on 2 pictures at a time. Or if they're not even ready for that, you hand them the picture first, and you say, okay. We'll say, okay. We'll be looking at the book. We'll say, okay, all right, where is Turkey? Turkey is right here. So we're gonna put him on. Okay, and for those of you that have the rambunctious toddlers that don't like to sit still, which, you know, sometimes starting out in speech therapy is most of them, turn it into a scavenger hunt. Take all of your pieces off. There are 8 pieces on every single one of these, so you know how many you're looking for. And send them on a scavenger hunt around the room to find the pictures. They love doing that. And every time you find a picture, you put it with the matching. Okay, so this is your basic Thanksgiving vocabulary book. Simple terminology, simple pictures, very basic, very, very simple. They love it. They're typically engaged with this. At first, you know, they don't really know what we're doing, but once they figure it out, hands down, you can use this activity over and over and over again. Okay, so the next thing we have, oh, and one more thing about this is that with your preschoolers, you can practice your sight words. And another way to make this engaging is whenever you're playing the hide and seek game, use the terminology on the page. Use the terminology on the page. For instance, I see turkey. Not only are you making them aware of their vocabulary, but you're also exposing them to an expanding utterance. And even though at first you may want them to just imitate the sounds like gobble, gobble, you know, bread basket, yum, or hot, eventually you can work up to getting them to pronounce their vocabulary words. Okay. The next thing that we have is adjectives. These are describatives. Now, these are along the same concept of the vocabulary books, but the only difference is that instead of using the terms of what they're actually called, you're just describing the object on the page. Okay, so sometimes this is a little bit much for your older kid, for your younger toddlers. So you just kind of start out with your environmental sounds like, yummy, yummy pie. Look at how sweet and yummy it is. This is really more of just a language exposure. So again, you're finding the pictures and you're placing them on the page, okay? So you're exposing them. You can always expose them to the terminology, calling it pumpkin pie, a piece of pie, a log cabin, a basket of yummy, yummy food. Look at that turkey, gobble, gobble, gobble. He is so colorful. This is just giving you, whenever it comes to toddlers, this is just giving you more options on exposing them to vocabulary without having to use the same book over and over and over again. And then as they become more vocal, or they become more verbal, or they become more expressive, you can begin to be a little more specific about what they are. And of course, with your preschool age, use the descriptors. Same thing goes with your preschool age on the vocabulary stuff. Use the actual terminology, have them read the words, all of that stuff. These are designed to where they can be used with multiple levels. Okay, they can be as simple as you want, or they can be as complex as you want, depending on what population you're working with. Okay, up next we have prepositions. All right, this is another fun one that you can use either sitting in a sitting situation, or you can make it interactive by hiding the things in the actual preposition. Like you can put this in a box, or if you have a hat, you can put it in the hat. Right now, most of mine are actually still in the sitting stage where they just want to sit and match. We haven't really had to do much of the get up and move around because they just like to sit and engage. I know I'm one of the lucky ones, but I also have a very small caseload, so. Okay, next one is Turkey, It's Thanksgiving, What Do You See? Now this is a counting book. This is just, again, another way to expose toddlers to vocabulary and introduce them to counting concepts. You are not expecting a toddler to be able to say, that is one table. Nobody's gonna know that. They're not, and if they do, like, good for them. But if they don't, it's not a big deal. But what you're doing is you're exposing them to the language. So you have one table. Okay, now that table has one turkey, one cornucopia, one bowl, one pumpkin, all of that stuff. Now, whenever you move on to the number 2, you can also include plurals. So for instance, on this one, we have 2 pies. You're not necessarily counting. You're not necessarily focusing on the number. This is just giving you a little bit more MLU, okay? And it's expanding their utterances just a little bit. Now, if they're still at the vocalization stage or they're still at the pre-verbal stage, this is another language exposure. Give them environmental sounds. You smell that yummy, yummy pie? And see if they can imitate that. Or you see those yummy, yummy pies? I like pies, don't you? Okay, we count all the way up to 10. Okay, we get through 3 baskets where once again you have 3 pumpkins. And again, you're just exposing them to the language. You're just exposing toddlers to the language. If they imitate you, awesome. If they count, great. If they begin to verbally interact with you, even better. Over time, of course, you're going to figure out the way that you can increase their utterances and increase their expression abilities. But at first, you have to keep it simple. Okay, so the way that this works is that you have your number page on the back. And like, for instance, we're at the number 4. So we're going to say, how many corns do you see? I see 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 corns. 4. Look at that. Okay, and you're going to go all the way to number 10 if you can get through it. If you can't get through all of these books at first with the toddlers, it is not that big of a deal. Like, it's okay. If they only want to, let's say with the vocabulary books, they only want to look at the pages. They only want to explore it. That's okay. Like, over time, you will be able to implement all of these things into your sessions. Okay, one more thing is the verbs. Yay! Okay, this is just, again, another way to expose your early communicators to language, and those that are talking to maybe expand a little bit by adding that ing. Okay, now this is the same concept as the vocabulary and the preposition one. You can create real life situations where you're cooking a meal or you build something. The possibilities are endless with this thing. And again, you just match. You take the picture, match it to the page in the book. Okay. We also have social emotional skills. Okay, another thing that we have to work on whenever it comes to toddlers is remembering that in addition to developing everything else, they also tend to have really big feelings. So these books, and this is also the same concept as the mouse book, which is with my Halloween stuff. But check this out. Okay, this is Turkey. Turkey, it's Thanksgiving. How do you feel? Right now, Turkey feels happy, right? Turkey is happy, happy Turkey. And to make this a repetitive reader, you can ask on every page, Turkey, how do you feel? Or how do you feel, Turkey? How does Turkey feel? Turkey feels happy. Now, This one can be a little bit tricky for them because you're not matching, and I'm sorry, it's shiny, it's laminated, because just if you're working with toddlers, laminate your pages. So this one can be a little bit tricky because you're not matching the page to the page. You're matching the clip art picture to the emotion, okay? So you're gonna have to help them out a little bit on that. I promise they do grasp the concept, but this is also promoting generalization because it shows that emotions can look differently. One of the biggest ones that look different is probably like your harder emotions, like sad and stuff like that. But each one of them comes with a matching clip art character, okay? And if you find yourself ever in a situation where the child just isn't getting it and you need the like clip arts, let me know. We can fix that. Okay, so we go through all of the emotions here. This turkey is excited. Obviously, he's not getting eaten this year. This must be the one that got pardoned by the president. All right. Oh, an embarrassed turkey. Oh, he overbaked himself. Oops. And we have the embarrassed guy. Oh, he's embarrassed. Maybe he accidentally tripped on something. It's okay to feel embarrassed. These are really fun to just introduce emotions to them. And as you're talking about each emotion, you can do little sentences like that. Like, oh, look, he is embarrassed. He may have accidentally fell or tripped. Sometimes we get embarrassed and that's okay. Everybody makes mistakes. We go through scared. Yikes. Scared turkey. This one's usually a hit. This one and excited. Like, they like to get scared. They like to pretend to be scared, and they really like to pretend to be excited. And they like to scare you. So you can take this opportunity to do some turn taking where, boo, you scared me, and then boo, they scared you. Okay. Oh, this is an angry turkey. He's mad. Somebody said they're gonna eat him. This girl is mad because somebody took her toy. You get mad when people take your toys, right? Yeah, it's important to share. It's very important to share. It's also okay to be angry sometimes. And surprised. Ah, this turkey got his birthday present. That is so exciting. Or this turkey got an extra snack today. How exciting. I mean, you know, the possibilities are endless. You can easily introduce these emotions to the kids as you read along. And the more you do it, the more you do it, the more you will realize that it just kind of sort of happens in natural conversation. Now, I will say that the Velcro books are very good at keeping kids' attention, especially at first. But, you know, they do go by very quickly. So you have to have other things lined up for them to keep them occupied, which is why I also include a follow-up activity to your preposition book where we pick out where the scarecrow is. Now, on the backs of these are little mats where they match the scarecrow, okay? And again, you can take these, you can hide them around the room. You can read through this book first. Find turkey, you can read through this book first sitting here. Find turkey, match turkey, talk about the positions, talk about where they are, and then go on a scavenger hunt to find scarecrow. Okay, and you can hide him in something, out of something, under something, in front of something, behind something. You get the idea. This is just it helps keep engagement. The next thing we have, and I'm actually very excited about this. This is the first time I've done this one, so I'm excited to get to give this one a try. But this is building a turkey using your colors. For this one, for this activity, you can read through the adjective book, describe all of the things that's going on, focusing on turkey. Like, look at how colorful turkey is. Isn't he so pretty? After we finish this, we will build a colorful turkey together. Okay, and then you pull out turkey. Then you'll pull out turkey, and each one of these feathers comes off. And as you can see, let me get this a little bit closer. As you can see, each one of the colors is labeled. This is going to give print awareness for the color name and what letters are in the words for each color. Okay, so as you go over this, Now, again, this is not necessarily to teach their colors. This is an activity to keep them engaged and expose them to the language, okay? That's what all of this is. You're just looking for exposure to language, and then you're gonna go off of whatever they decide to imitate. So for example, you can say, let's put on the red feather. Can you find the purple? You know, and then they have to look for the purple feather. This is purple. Can you find it? Whenever they do, they put it on. Okay, so you go all the way through, you finish it out, and what? Something's missing. Let's put body on. Very good. Then you can talk about body parts. Here are Turkey's eyes. Where are your eyes? Eyes. Eyes help us see. Here is Turkey's mouth. Mouth. Turkey's mouth eats seeds. What does your mouth eat? Does your mouth eat seeds? Maybe. But it probably likes cookies and fruit and vegetables. Anyway, it's just another fun and engaging activity in the end. And there is also a black and white version of this, so you can actually print this out and have them color it if they are into that. I just know that most toddlers, they don't really like to color. Up next, we have another language exposure thing, and this time we're going to talk about shapes. Shapes. Okay, so for shapes, again, this is just exposure. I want you to keep that in mind. At the toddler phase, you are only exposing the babies to language. You're not really setting any expectations. If they talk to you, fantastic. If they say something back to you, even better. If they begin to imitate you, go off of that. But the biggest thing that you have to keep in mind whenever you're serving toddlers is that you're just trying to get them to communicate, whatever that looks like. You're just trying to get them to engage, and then you build from that engagement. Okay, so shapes. With this one, when you take it off, it has a really happy shape. And so you just match. These are pilgrim hats, so you just match the shape. Now, for toddlers, like I said, language exposure. Preschoolers, maybe a little more advanced, have them identify the shapes. But your toddlers, you're just gonna wanna match them, okay? And they may need some assistance on that, and that's okay at first. Like, that's fine, it's totally fine.